Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I need to put right a wrong. Yeah, something which has changed dramatically in the game. I need to do this update guide for Yakarl. And just so you can see what I mean, on the website right now where we kind of link my most recent video or whatever, the video for Yakarl reads as Mr. Underwhelming. And he was, yeah, he was actually one of the worst Void Legendaries in the game, considering how cool he looked. But he had a big buff, and it's time to show you a video with him in action. He's actually available from the clan shop if you're a level 9 clan. It takes 20 weeks worth of buying his fragments to get him, so you know it's a long-term investment, a bit like Drex, but they're both insanely good legendaries and both well worth your time. In fact, at the place where I'm at on my free-to-play right now, 60 days in, If we had a level 9 clan right now, I would switch all of my focus into buying Yakarl, whereas I have been buying energy and been buying accessories up to now. He is a bit of a game changer for accounts. So I'm going to show that in today's video. We're going to look at him trying out his damage like we normally would. We're going to check him out against Spider, against Fire Knight, against Dark Fae, and in the arena. So actually kind of 4 really valuable areas of the game that you can use Yakarl. And when you're looking at these type of fragments, it's like, will they give me, I guess, usability in a lot of different places? And I feel like Yakarl definitely does that. Versus someone like Yakarl, great nuker, but really she's quite one-dimensional. She's a nuker, that's what she does. Yakarl can be used in a ton of areas. And I would say, equally, just while I'm talking about it, Drex can also be used in a ton of areas, which is why I'm buying up his fragments on a daily basis on the free-to-play as well. Similar type of thing. I mean, it's a 100-day investment for Drex, so like a 3-month investment, but well worth it once you get him at the other end because you can use him in a ton of Doom Tower content. Okay, so far on my account, Yakarl's been drastically underused. In fact, all he's been used for is to get me past one of the missions where I needed to fit Affinity Breaker gear. So I feel bad for the guy. We're going to do a proper in-depth video here. What's going on with his kit? So since his change, he's actually got some of the best kind of control mechanics in the game. And he also hits pretty damn hard. So he's definitely become a Void Legendary. I would say at the moment, he might be the only champion in Raid who's actually got a gear set that makes some sense for the new Fire Knight. And the trouble with that is, because he's the only one, people aren't really able to build teams that make any sense for the new Fire Knight. Okay, it's just what it is. You've got probably 2 other champions, Gory and Shiramani, that have got some sort of frost mechanic that makes a little bit of sense for the fight, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, okay? So I'm not seeing many people really trying the new hard mode Fire Knight just because we don't really have the champions to do it. We need a new counter attacker or a new ally attacker that have got some sort of freeze in their kit or some sort of turn meter boost, something which helps the rest of the team get those 21 hits in and then keep the boss's turn meter down. Currently, I don't feel like we've got any. I really don't. So I said it the other day in a video. I feel like the new Fire Knight freeze is a bit of a bait because there's not really freeze champions that help you do the job. In fact, the only teams I'm seeing that are beating hard mode 10 at the moment are stacked with God tier legendaries. So that's not really a great place to be. I feel like they've overtuned it a bit. But anyway, let's get into his kit. Double hitter on the A1. Each hit, if booked, 50% chance to freeze. Pretty cool A1. And ignores defense as well if they're under freeze. Do remember, like, his kit's based around frost, freeze. Yeah, he looks probably as good as any champion in the game. I love the backdrop and stuff. But when freeze is out there, you just do less damage. Yeah, it's one of the weaker parts of having freeze out. That's why most people tend to go for a stun champion, because stuns don't reduce your damage, whereas freezes do. Is second skill here then, so Blizzard Rider. Attacks one enemy. Books to 100% chance of placing decreased speed for 3 turns and freezing someone. Also steals 100% of the target's turn meter and places increased speed on himself. It's such a crazy steal, this one. It's so good. Will ignore 50% target's defense if they're under freeze. So basically, he is decreasing their speed, freezing them, increasing his own speed, stealing turn meter. Like, this skill's crazy against bosses where you need to turn meter control. Like Dark Fae, like Fire Knight in the old style Fire Knight. like Spider. Yeah, there's loads going on with this skill. It's really good. And you got the A3, so an AoE freeze. Goes on for 1 turn. The chance increases to 100% against targets with high turn meter. And I think in most situations, when you're going into a fight, certainly for like the first hit of enemies, turn meter will be high. So if you open with this against waves, you should land this. This debuff cannot be resisted by targets with more than 75% turn meter. So you don't even need accuracy in your kits if you're just using him for this. Let's say in the arena, if you're doing this. But I would say for other things, like you're going to build accuracy to steal turn meter, you're going to build accuracy to freeze anyway. What this means is, in the arena against high resistance enemies, this still lands. Even if you've only got like a couple of hundred accuracy for the other stuff, this will still land against those kind of like high resistance type teams. Just generally, like, it's going to be a very, very useful skill in a ton of stuff. High level hard Doom Tower, when you're trying to beat up those waves, AoE freeze on a 4 turn is actually going to be really useful as well. Then got this passive, so increases his damage by 10% for each champion in battle under freeze. So if you're freezing a whole wave of enemies, 40% more damage. Obviously, you lose 20% of damage for the freeze anyway, but it's still net improved, yeah? So actually pretty cool. Also decreases the damage this champion receives for each champion in battle under freeze. Okay. Pretty okay ability. Obviously, you've got to get your freeze out before you can do this. If you've frozen the whole enemy team, you shouldn't really be taking hits anyway. And by the time they start hitting you, most of them are probably starting to come unfrozen. So I don't know how useful that side of it is, honestly, but certainly more damage when they're frozen is quite cool. Means you can build him as the nuker, bring a different freeze champion in if you wanted to. Also places unkillable buff on him for a turn whenever they kill someone under freeze. So you nuke 1, get yourself an unkillable buff. It only goes on for 1 turn. Again, I don't know how clutch, how useful it is. It's very, very situational. You're not really a lot in control of this much. But I guess on a 3 turn, it's not a bad thing just to have as a potential clutch situation. But yeah, Yakarl's kit is very good. It's got attack in all battles. Let's build him to nuke first, and then I'll throw him into some cool content. Okay, we know what's coming. We've got ourselves some savage gear on. We've got 6.7k attack. We've got 250% crit damage. We've got Helm Smasher and the damage masteries. Let's see if he can smack. So he's got his own attack aura, which means that we're going to get a bit of damage from him from that as well. Arbiter in here for increased attack. Lydia for decreased defense and weaken. Bad L to give us more damage because they're poisoned. And Gurptuk to give us more damage because we're poisoned. Let's go in with the A1 first. Slow this down. What have we got against Apothecary here? A1, 120, followed by the 86. So he froze him first, which reduced our damage, but still not a bad A1. Couple of 100,000 hits, reasonable. Let's go with the A2, which is also that turn meter steal. I mean, did it straight off. 340k on the A2, single hit. Plus, he comes back with a decent amount of turn meter here. We might be able to just get kind of straight back into his next hit as well before they've even taken a turn. So A3 then, which also freezes the enemy if you've got accuracy to do it. Or if they've got high turn meter like they've got now, an irresistible freeze if they weren't all dead. 240k to 290. So good damage. He's not obscene. He's pretty high. He's like up there with some high damage dealers, but I actually prefer him for control, for the turn meter stealing, for the freezing, for the control abilities that he's got, and then he'll set up some of the other damage dealers in the game. Okay, so I've changed his build up a bit. I've got the kind of support tree for some of the accuracy bonuses, Evil Eye for the type of bosses we're going to fight. I've left the offense as it was, but I'm just thinking about it, you might prefer to take Opportunist because we know there's going to be freezes out there quite a lot. So you get an extra 12% damage for that. You might also decide to take War Master instead of Helm Smasher if you're taking on bosses, because when you're going higher levels, generally you get more benefit for that. In terms of gear then, I've left him in that Savage gear, but I just switched him now into Perception. Gives us more accuracy. I've pushed the speed up quite a lot. Still got a bit of a damage build. Honestly, I should just change these gloves to crit rate because I'm nowhere near crit capped. That's not the type of place where we want to be. I've not optimized the build for the optimizer. I've literally just thrown some gear on from where we were. So 228 speed now. We've got 100% crit rate. We've still got some damage, but it's not built for damage anymore. I guess let's start with a Fire Knight team. We're going to do Fire Knight. We're going to do Dark Fae. We're going to do Spider. And then we're going to go into Arena. So I've got like a wave clearing team here with Seer, etc. Yakarl's mainly in here for boss killing. I guess I'll show you the setup quick. You definitely can do Yakarl teams without Seer, by the way. I just want to get to the boss as quick as we can. So we've got Ghostborn dropping defense for the waves. Seer ripping up the waves. Yakarl comes into his own when it comes to the boss. Things like Blizzard, Rider are really going to help us with the turn meter control on the boss. So we've got to save that skill until we get to the boss. We're going to let him use Glaciate because it's going to help us control the enemies if we need to. And then we're going to turn that off for the boss. Pretty much that is that. Let's let it run. So, timer, saving is reset. We get our AoE freeze. Because we don't have enough damage or buffs in the team to just straight up nuke with Seer, the freeze enables us to take an extra turn, get back round to some nukage, and actually get the job done. So this is kind of like an alternate use of Seer, really. Normally in Seer teams, it's a one-shot, move on. This team, we don't have enough buffs to do that. I don't have like a Lydia in the squad. Could bring one, by the way. But it just kind of shows you an alternative use of a control champion in this style of team. And you can see, without the waves getting a turn because of that freeze, we're still absolutely wrecking. By the way, I got Soul Reap on him, not for any other reason than I already had it on him. But I figured it could be quite cool to finish the boss off quicker. We get to the boss in about 50 seconds. If I was going with a one-shot wave clearer with like a Lydia, we would have been at the boss about 20 seconds quicker. But the double hit from his A1 is good. Gets us onto the fight quite quick. Decreased speed goes on. Turn meter still goes on as well. Increased speed on me, so I'm rotating through my abilities so quick. And Yakarl's actually doing a ton of work here. He's doing an absolute load of work to enable the rest of this team to do their job. And obviously everyone's got the A1, which drops a bit of turn meter. There goes the turn meter drop as well. Pretty much between him and Coldheart, they're the only people doing any sort of turn meter control on this boss. And it's huge. We might get the Soul Reap. There it goes. Bam. 133. Pretty fast, honestly. Pretty fast for Fire Knight 25. So, yeah, definitely cool in this team. And he's actually doing 1.5 million damage, more than Coldheart, and not that far behind Seer, considering Seer's doing all of that nuke work. So I just had to change the build of Yakarl slightly so that he was doing less damage. I've just taken his gloves off because I was killing the spiderlings too quick. But basically, the setup of this team here is Yakarl is going to freeze all the spiderlings. Because their turn meter is high, we're actually going to get an irresistible freeze basically on all of them. We then get the HP burnout from whoever your burner is. We get decreased speed and turn meter still coming on from our Yakarl. Freeze again, so that again, we're just kind of in a good spot. Rotate through our abilities. And then ideally, at this point, the burns, if you haven't done too much damage, we're a bit on the edge, the burns finish the job. You might need to cycle back around to a kind of second burn. But ultimately, Yakarl's doing such a good job of keeping turn meter down that it's just insane. Like, you don't realize how much work he is putting in to this type of squad. I'm going to get my burns back in time, just about. It's not clean, but I've not tuned it to be super clean. I've just kind of given you a feel for how it works. And obviously, Shrank's doing all the damage there, but Yakarl's actually doing a ton of the work. Let's move it on to Dark Fae. So yeah, with Dark Fae, I feel like it's probably one of the best areas to farm still, even with Mythic gear coming through. The kind of lethal gear is like Savage gear plus some. Let's just run a team that I've pulled together for this. This one up top here. So what we're looking at here is Deacon, Allure, Raw Guard, Yakarl. They're all doing turn meter control. This boss is about, can I kill my wave of enemies, as in me? And then can I turn meter control the boss so that it doesn't really ever get a turn? So basically everyone's set up to do some damage through the waves. But we've then got, when it comes to the boss fight, Deacon doing turn meter control gives me the advantage. We're going to have Yakarl coming in and freezing my enemy team, everyone laying the nukes, and then after that, Blizzard Rider would start doing the turn meter control for us. So this is a farmable stage for me right now, and I need speed teams. I've got a speed team already, honestly, but you can see the work that we're putting in to get this done. I've turned off Yakarl's 2 main abilities for the waves, so you're not going to see him do anything too juicy here. Oh, hold on a minute. He just did his freeze. Maybe I didn't do that right. We'll see. Maybe I make him use it and then it comes back in time, I think. But we're freezing the... Yeah, okay, yeah. So we're freezing wave 2. Takes us a bit of time to actually kill wave 2 because I'm holding on to Deke's main abilities. So the freeze is actually giving us enough time to kill the waves without any sort of worry. It does that Soul Reap. I love the Soul Reap animation. Like, it's so cool, actually. And then we get onto the boss. So 40 odd seconds onto the boss. Turn me to control, drop defense. If they're not dead already, we're going to go in there with that AoE hit and the freeze. And then we start turn me to control in. So we've got whoever your ally attack is allowing a law to come in. Then we get the Blizzard Rider in there. We put in the decreased speed. We drop a load of turn meter. And from this point on, you've basically got a turn meter control team. And Darkface should never get a turn. Every time the turn meter feels like it's getting high, Allur's doing her job. Yakarl comes in with that A2 and is actually just such a clutch A2. Look at that. Drop down to 0 again. And then it's just a case of slow and steady. Take this Darkface down. It's going to end up being probably close to a 1 minute 50 to 2 minute type of fight. But you'll get yourself some of that juicy, lethal gear. Now, this is not an easy team to build. We're talking about level 80 hard, and this same comp runs on level 120 hard as well. We're talking about, I guess, can I show you? I'll show you at the end the type of speeds that we're running here. It's quite quick. So no, it's actually over 2 minutes. If I had on my Yakarl War Master instead of Helm Smasher, then we would get a bit more damage away here. Might get Soul Reap away. No, not yet. So Soul Reap's quite nice if you're just trying to get a finisher. Guess it's just a percentage chance to land it. What are we on? 3. Level 3. There it goes. Bam. So Soul Reap takes it down. So 2 minutes 23 to get that done. And again, you can see Royal Guard doing 1 million. Yakarl basically doing 1 million as well. Lots of damage. If I show you the team here in terms of times, speed, sorry. 275 Deke, 267 Allure, 229 Royal Guard, 237 Ally Attacker, and my Yakarl's running at 237 as well. You could drop a little bit from that, but they're the type of ranges that you're looking at. It's a fast speed team. Obviously, if you've got someone like Lysandra in here, then it helps you. You know, you can change things up, but this is the type of team that you'd be needing to run. So last place we're going to focus on then is the arena. So I guess I'll show you in 3v3. I feel like he can play in a number of different types of teams, but ultimately you're going to be using him for control here. So I'm just going to skip this first battle. Show you his fight. Take it off of auto a second. Oh, Hedgie, don't kill everyone. Hedgie. I didn't mean to. I forgot I got a nuke Hedgie on. Ultimately, I feel like he works better in a speed team. So you're going first. Most often, when you're in a speed team like this, the enemy are going to have a high turn meter when you're taking your turn. So you then come in with your Glaciate, which gives you an irresistible, even against someone like Mithrala here, who's going to have a ton of resist, irresistible freeze. Yeah. I'm going to kill her anyway. Try that again. Let's find another team. Okay, I'm going to try against this kind of tanky team here. Look at this team power, 428k. That means they have got the absolute stacked resistances, yeah? Even my Madame here with very high accuracy is probably not going to be able to do anything against this team. But what this will show you, hopefully, let me just check my turn meter here. Do need to boost. So yeah, in fact, they're super slow. So Yakarl has an irresistible freeze if they got more than 75%. But because they're so slow here, only Duchess is going to get the irresistible. Everyone else is actually going to get away with this. But we get a bit of damage away, I guess. Oh, Mounting King says, how you feeling, fellas? Let's see if we can get... Yeah, look at that. So, Irresistible here. Guess we're going to try and chunk into them with our Leorius anyway. And we get the job done. But basically, because we managed to get the 100% freeze on Duchess, that's what's enabled us to win this fight. Yeah, you might be like, what do you mean? That's what enabled us to win this fight. Double hit. The first hit Dead Knight. The second hit hits him. And then we're just autoing against this Death Knight here who's going to try and take us down. But yeah, the Yakarl freeze, the irresistible part of that freeze, is definitely what wins us that fight. Because Duchess, once she gets going, throwing out the buffs, it becomes more and more difficult to deal with that team. Let's see if I can just find one more. Not really that tanky. Might be another speed team though. Let's just try it. But yeah, Yakarl's definitely got his place in the arena. Stone Skin hard wrecks him though. Stone Skin is like a very hard anti. And I guess, yeah, Immunity Gear here as well is pretty nasty. Damn, did I get outsped here? I got wrecked. Okay, one last fight, take two. So we've got a Kaimar who's definitely going to go before him. Let's speed us up. Kaimar is protected from the freeze, so Kaimar's probably going to come at us with a sleep. But I can at least freeze the rest of the team. Like the people that are going to do damage. Plus we do a decent hit at the same time, by the way. Let's clear off Kaimar's buffs. Okay, so he's set up to actually speed boost. It means you're going to lose, friend. You'd select me, you had a chance. And then we bring in our damage. And everybody takes a rest, apart from Magnar. Finish him off. So there you go. Yakarl, I think he's such a versatile champion. Definitely usable for your teams. Definitely usable in your comps. But, yeah, I guess decide where you want to use him. He's so versatile. It's nuts. Really good buff. Really good change for this champion. Make sure you get involved. He's no longer Mr. Underwhelming. There you go, guys. I've been Hell Hades. I'll catch you later.